Shall we start assessing candidates during the recruitment process and see how much of stress they can handle? And also advertising jobs based on the level of stress that they come with. I'm Sylvia, an organizational psychologist, and today I want to talk about stress and burnout because I am not buying the story that everybody is stressed and burned out at work. It's impossible, statistically impossible. And there are a lot of questions to ask. And some of them are just literally, is that true? What do you mean by stress? Is work stressing you out? Life is stressing you out? So today I wrote an article, just like I wrote last year, hundreds of articles, and I'm bringing them to YouTube one by one. So today I wrote an article and people immediately pushed back, which I was kind of ready for it. And I said, I'm not buying that everybody is stressed out and burned out. And I tell you why. And I really would like to have your input, you guys. But before we start, I need to make it very clear. I'm talking about stress that comes with the job, and not managers and leaders who are bullying, abusing, and harassing people. That's a whole different conversation, right? That's not the stress that I'm talking about. It's literally, this is my job, and every single job comes with a certain level of stress, and people respond to it not in a very resilient way. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because when I go around in organizations, what I hear, everybody, I'm stressed, I'm burned out, I'm stressed. And when I ask questions, which everybody should be asking, tell me, what does it look like? Why are you stressed? What is stressing you out about this job? What are the things? And most of the times, I don't receive a really convincing argument or answer. People tell me job-related, task-related things that are stressing them out. So the question is the job stressing you out? So maybe then you are not supposed to be doing that job? That's why I ask about the assessment. Should we start recruiting people based on, this job requires minimum level of stress, medium level of stress, high level of stress. And now during the recruitment process, we need to screen people out who will not be able to handle the stress that comes with the job, right? For example, air traffic controllers. We know it's one of the highest level of stress job that, in terms of level of stress. Firefighters, emergency services, lawyers, stock market brokers and all that. Their level of stress is I would not be able to handle. So every job has it. But are we really stressed, or we are just told by social media that we're supposed to feel stressed? Because this is what I'm getting from the general public. Because this is what should happen in organization. And I made a few notes in here for you guys. That, when you conduct a survey, which is fantastic, whatever survey, let's say stress, people are asked, and this is what the statistics are saying, that people are stressed and burned out. Okay, fantastic. But there is no follow-up, there is no dive into the details, right? And so we don't actually know. This is just random. Are you happy, not happy? And then you say something and that's that. So I think it's a stupid approach, and for this reason. So put yourself in a situation, you go to the doctor, to the psychologist, and you say, or psychiatrist, and you say, I'm depressed, can I please have medication? You need to take action. Okay. And your psychiatrist prescribes medication without actually start understanding you. And we know this is happening, and we know that's why we have problems with prescription drugs, right? Now, the same happens in the workplace. We run, let's say, the stress survey, how stressed out, and well-being survey, whatever survey. And we take it and we say, okay, the workforce is stressed out. But if we went back to the workforce and we started probing into that stress, we would not find a lot of useful information. Now, once again, I'm putting bad leadership on the side, right? Because poor leadership, bullying, harassment, that causes severe stress. So let's put that on the side for now. Because we cannot say that everybody is stressed, and we cannot say that, oh, it's not the work that is stressing me out, but the leadership. We cannot say this because simply that would mean that every single leader and manager in every organization is bad. And once again, that statistically just cannot be. So something is not adding it up. So when I push back and I ask people, okay, tell me about it. So they would tell me, my manager is sending me random tasks to do, which is not within the scope of my job. Okay, it's a task, right? Then they would say, I have to sometimes stay overtime. I don't support overtime, never. But is this something I really need to stress about? Or I can talk to my manager and address that. And so there is never a good argument why people are stressed. Sometimes I receive, nobody is helping me. I don't feel supported, etc., etc. But when I ask employees, did you ask for help? No. Okay, why not? Oh, I don't think they would have me. You don't think, and you base your stress on what you think instead of the actions that you could do or have done and tried. So there's a lot of adopted stress, I think, from social media, because these memes are fantastic and I'm the first one jumping on them and using them. And social TikTok videos are fantastic, corporate arena and everybody is great. And those, represent realities to a certain degree. But stress, are we really stressed, or we just stressed by default because everybody says that, oh, they are stressed, so now I need to feel part of the group and now I need to feel stressed. So this is my problem with stress. I don't discount people's level of stress. And I also understand that, you have stress outside of work, which, you add everything together, it can create or increase your level of stress overall. But my problem is that people are not taking actions. And these are your stressors when you are not taking action. So it's, the problems that need solving, they are not your stressors. The task that needs to be done, those are not your stressors. The things that you have no control over, why the hell are you stressing about it? And I know it's easy to say, but I come back to it in a minute. Decisions that you need to take, those are not your stressors. Conversations that you need to have with your boss, with your colleague, with your line manager, with your husband, with your wife, with your friends, with the neighbor, screaming children, right? Those are not your stressors. What stresses you out is your inability and unwillingness to go and do those things. Because the task is stressful until you start doing them. And then it's done. So when we start asking people what are the stresses, there is not many times that we find things that is not within their control. So for example, write down everything that stresses you out and worries you out. Cross over everything that you can't really control, you have no control over. And start doing, you can't do anything. Finish, move on. It's not your business, literally. And look at what is it that you can do and start doing those. And your life will immediately, get better. So, going back to my previous videos, that we get caught up in this society where society is telling us we need to feel this way or that way. Then we put our watch, this monitoring watch, and the watch is leading our lives. Oh, you are stressed, etc., etc. So be very careful with that, because we know how easy it is to manipulate the mind, how easy it is to brainwash people. It's everybody. And you can't say, oh, I'm not easily. All of us, even the smartest people in the world. And unfortunately, I have seen one very disappointing example in the past couple of weeks about a scientist. I'm not going to go there. But, it's very easy to brainwash people. So ask yourself the question, am I really stressed with everything in life? With everything in life? Am I really stressed? Do I really have anxiety? Is this really the way how I think? Is this how the way I feel about whatever? Or is this the external input that is in my head, and that is what is driving my thoughts and feelings and emotions? Because many times you will feel, especially if you can think for yourself, that you find yourself among 50 people, 100 people, and you say, you know what, that's not my experience. I'm actually okay with this job. Could we have more people? Yeah, absolutely. Is the workload a little bit heavy? Yeah, but I can deal with that. Do I need to stay sometimes overtime, but then I get it back? Once again, don't abuse people with unpaid overtimes and not giving back overtimes. I can deal with that. Do I sometimes have conflict with my coworkers? Yeah, I can deal with that. Okay, that's fine. So overall, I think it's cool. But and I spoke this morning to a few of my friends, because immediately they came back about this article, and one of them said that we started talking about it. And what the expectation of her, and she said it herself, that, I do, and she has a very high level of resilience, and she does everything. She has a shitty environment to work in, and is really, really toxic. So she has the reason to be stressed out. So she does everything to manage that stress. So I praised her. I'm like, you're doing fantastically well. I'm like, you do your exercise, you have life outside of work, which is very important, right? And I'm like, you are beating yourself up, and actually you are managing super well, because it doesn't have a major impact on your health and well-being. You sleep well, you manage life very well. And then she said, yeah, but I imagine that there will be this careless, non-stress life where there's no stress. And I told her, now this is where the problem lies. Because there is no such a job, there is no such a life, there is no such a anything without stress. So a certain level of stress can be expected in every job. And if you can't handle that, you are in the wrong job. It's not that we need to change the job around and the environment, because everybody, oh my God, I'm stressed out. Even if I just have to send an extra email or make a booking for a meeting room, which was not planned for my day. That's not stress. That's just another thing to come. No. So stress is something that you can actually control over. And here is one thing that I learned. Maybe you find it's very useful. So when we studied psychology, and during one of the classes we were talking about trauma and stress and all that, and I will put the link in below in the comment. You can watch. So there were these leopards who caught the gazelle or antelope or whatever, and the antelope went into a freeze mode, and we do that: fight, freeze, flight, right? And all of a sudden the leopard got distracted and went, and then the antelope stayed there and started recovering, right? It didn't kill it, started recovering. And then the professors explained what is really happening is that the antelope started shaking, and this is where we release. It's a normal human, or every mammal does that, right? Does that. It's a release mechanism where your body starts shaking and releases the stress. And this is what we need in order to recuperate and then go back to work, to life, to the savannah, if you were a gazelle or antelope or whatever animal that was. But this is what we don't let human beings do. So for us, it looks like, let's talk about it. Shout, cry, go for an exercise. You need to let that out. Even during this class, the professor said, now I don't have a medical background, so I can't say that this is true or not, but this is what we were told, that when you have an accident, or for example, and you get injured, your body goes into this shock and you start shaking. What does the paramedic do? First thing, they stop that shaking. I don't know how, so don't question me. I'm just saying what they said. They stop that shake, and we shouldn't stop that shake, because this is where your body, because the trauma happens in the neurosystem, in the neurons, not in the trauma is in the neurosystems and in the neurons, not in the event. So the event is cool, and I can prove it to you with the I will come back to it. And we stop that shaking. So we stop the release of stress, and that's the problem. And the same happens to me when I fast. Around 26 hours, my body went into this, and I felt my hands are shaking and everything. This is when my body switched in to ketosis and all that kind of other functions that it goes into, But that's just release. And then the body comes back very well. But if you don't allow this release, this is what you're going to get. It's just all builds up. And with every single tiny thing, you need to send a new email, it's already stress. You're not stressed. You just don't know how to manage. You have false expectation, probably, to the job. Maybe you are in the wrong job. And also, maybe you are not stressed. You're just being brainwashed that you need to be stressed. Let's move on to burnout, because this burnout misery is driving me absolutely crazy, because these gurus are coming out from the woods. Everybody's almost burned out CEO, 5 times burned out CEO. And I want you to avoid burnout. I don't want you to avoid burnout. But I don't want you to kill yourself in the process either. Because burnout is literally you testing your limits. And I think this is what is missing from Gen Z. As much as I love them, they are playing it very carefully. Why? Because Generation X and boomers, we got burned. We were abused and used in the workforce. Gen Z saw that, we're not doing it. But at the same time, they're stepping back and they are not even allowing themselves to achieve. Now, here is the thing. Nothing is good or bad in life. It's just the labor and how you interpret it, the labor you put to it, right? Now, and I always looked at burnout as, playing with fire. When you are a kid, you play with fire, you need to burn your hands, or for you to understand that, hey, don't touch it, that's your limit. And despite your mom and dad told you, don't do it, you're going to go ahead and do it. Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. This is how we learn. This is how we push boundaries. This is how we set boundaries. And this is how we establish the parameters. How far can we go? What are our limits? Can I work for a whole month, 12 hours a day, but I can close that business deal, but then I need to go and, sit for a week because now I need to recover. This is fine. It's a high stress environment, 1 month, but then I recover, right? And if you don't, when you get burned out, you know that you went too far. That's all you did. Don't be scared of being burned out, because guess what? Nothing great has ever happened without people risking being burned out and being burned out. And that's it, All the businesses that people build, all their athletes, the sports achievements, these guys are pushed to the limit. Would they be where they are if they are not pushed to the limit? Pushing your limits is good. Staying safe because, my mental health and all that, is it really impacting your mental health, or you are saying it because you heard it from social media? Once again, the question must be asked. Are you really suffering from any kind of mental, physical, or emotional problem? Or you are just saying? Ask yourself the question, is it impacting me? If it doesn't impact, keep going. Go. But you know what you should do? And these pushing your boundaries and limits is really, they serve one purpose first, or two purposes. First, so you establish what you are capable of, because otherwise, how would you know what you can achieve if you don't even try? And trying means risking and pushing, right? So then And also for you to start learning about yourselves and monitor yourself. So push yourself, go and get yourself burned a little bit. But then monitor, how far can I go? How many hours of stress can I take? How many hours can I read? Because not everybody is a reader, right? One person can read 30 minutes. I can read over an hour and a half, solid. But after that, my brain goes. But then there are academics. They read for 3 to 4, 5 hours a day. There's no way I could do that, right? Could I train myself? And if I'm pushed to do that for a long period of time, cognitively, I will be burned out because my brain just not capable of doing it. So I would need time to train my brain up to do that. Same with running. Same with everything in life. So don't fall for anything that you hear on social media. And this is my advice for you guys. I'm not going to say that you are not stressed because I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not going to say that you are not burned out. You know what? If you are a little bit, good for you. What did you learn about yourself? That would be my question if I was your coach. Because these natural reactions for stress, that you are not sleeping, that you are worried, that you are, even burnt out, or I'm exhausted, I'm fatigued, I'm, whatever it is. These are all signs, natural signs, signals from your body that, hey, you are in the wrong direction. You are doing something that is not, it's not going to be compatible for with your body. And these are just signals which you should be listened to. They are not there to avoid, because then you don't ever discover anything. And you know what? If you keep pushing and not scared of being, stressed a little bit, maybe get a little burned out, you will see how far you can actually go. But don't fall for these narratives. And you know what? These social media gurus, and that's why sometimes they piss me off, because these social media gurus who are selling and making money out of your stress at work and burnout and all that, they are doing the same thing. And they are just making money while watching you sitting at home and and urging you to take it easy. But these guys are the ones who are going on months and months or long tours to promote their books, speaking engagement, their new podcast or whatever it is. And it's very, very difficult to handle. It's very heavy on their body, on their mind. So they go on a 3 months, 6 months, they get overwhelmed because now they are pushing it, they are burning out, but they know that. But after that, they go and they rest for months. So they are preaching something that they are not doing, and you are listening to them. And the reason they are successful or out there, whatever success means, out there and making money, because they know that you have to put yourself forward and to risk and to go and see how far can I go, because without that you're not going to, all you're going to do is sit on your sofa. So my question is, ask yourself, am I really stressed? Am I really burned out? Am I playing it too safe? If your answers are yes, ask why. What is it that is bothering me? How is that impacting my life? Can I sleep? Am I eating well? Etc. etc. There's so much more to stress than just your work environment. Why is it that you are stressed at work? And if you start looking at those, most of the time you will find, you know what, it's okay. There are things I need to talk about with my boss to address those issues. And there are things that, I can take control over. And that's it. Once again, if you don't have control over something, move on. It's not your business. You can't stress about it. Sometimes some people worry, what if I get fired? I understand that because you have children to feed and you have a family to rely on you. But you are not the decision maker over there. There's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is to find a plan B. Because stress comes from lack of action, lack of decision, lack of options. If I have options, you can't stress me out. I leave. So find options. That's your best alternative. Because sometimes we're stuck in a job that is shit. And I understand. We have bills to pay. Life is sometimes really, really harsh on everyone. But if you know that, you know what, I'm just doing it for the bills, I will not get caught up with the nonsense in here or whatever it is, it gives you a little reassurance and clarity. Or I'm going to go and, I'm finding a job. Just look at people who are really, really stressed at work, stressed, right? And even if they are really stressed, and this is why I always say, don't bullshit me. The moment that they resign, in the same environment, the stress has gone. Why? Because now they have an option. Now they have a way out. So try to find that way out, that exit, that option somehow. Maybe it's not immediate, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that in the meantime it has to eat you up. And now the video is too long, but I want to tell you one more thing. Job levels. Going back to the assessment. What are the level of stress that an employee, a line level, an entry level job requires? Not much. The tasks are very simple. It's not complex. The only thing that can stress you out is your manager and leadership. But that's, once again, is another story. I'm talking about the job itself. Then you have the managers. It's a little bit more complex, but there's nothing. What is going to stress you out? Incompetence can stress you out big time. So if you are not capable or prepared or equipped to do your job, you don't have the competencies that you need to ask for help so you can address the stress. And for leaders, now those are high level risk stress roles, right? But they look very, very different. For them, they need to make the business. They need to, manage the people. What does it look like? But once again, we're going back. It's the job. You are hired. You applied for that job. So did you apply for a job that you're not capable to handle? Because knowing how to do the job, but not being able to handle what the stress that comes with it, that makes you not suitable for the job. Right? Or just ask yourself the question, am I really stressed? Or I have adopted the identity what social media is pushing me, and now I'm stressed all of a sudden. So I will put all the links in there. You can read more about it and let me know what you think. But I think we need to start putting some balance back into this, either pushing people too far and they really burn out just based on the workload and all that, or and from bringing the Gen Z back from not doing, hey, I'm out at the first point of or signs of inconvenience, because that's not great either. You will never find out your true potential and what you are capable of doing. Don't waste your potential. So let's bring people together and somewhere in the middle, things comes with stress, jobs are stressful, interacting with people is stressful, but it's not such a stress that you can't handle. You are more than equipped to handle these stress, but you need to create a lifestyle that will allow you. So expose yourself to stress, then recuperate. Expose yourself to stress, recuperate. And you do that 15 times a day. And you are just fine. You will be fine. You made it until now. Stop thinking too much about it and ask yourself the question, is it how I really feel? No, I need to go, really. So enjoy and don't stress, but really ask yourself the question, am I stressed? I have been stressed once in my life.